Hello everyone and welcome. Welcome to episode 103 of the Mind and Muse Crafts podcast. I am your host, Caroline. Thank you for joining me today. I am always so grateful to those returning viewers that come here every 2 weeks looking for the opportunity to catch up on what I've been up to. And I especially thank those new viewers that for some reason saw the video in their recommended or suggestion box and decided to give it a chance. So thank you, all of you, for being here with me. And let me just remind you, especially if you are a new viewer, what this is all about. This is a channel where I share what I have been up to in the crafty side of my life, because everybody lives a life in which you wear multiple hats, and this is one of them. I like to separate a time where I can work with creative outlets that allow me to, as everybody knows, let go of the stress, to calm the mind and the spirit, and to get those creative juices flowing, which I have always believed is beneficial to our mind and to our soul. So that's what I do here. Mostly I talk about crochet, especially over the last probably couple of years in which I have been traveling a lot. So limited to what I can take with me, I prefer to take a little bit of yarn and a couple of hooks. And it is so much easier to crochet up a new project than it is to create projects using the other crafts that I have sometimes practiced here with you. So today won't be any different. It'll be about crochet, the crochet that I've been up to over the past couple of weeks. But as normal, as usual, I try to begin with a brief exposition of how I use crochet, if possible, in my everyday life. And so, I don't know if you guys are into the Prime Day movement, but yeah, it was Prime Day, July the 11th and the 12th. And though I'm not a big purchaser, I don't accumulate things anymore, I was looking into some very loose summer dresses that I could wear inside the house while I'm taking care of my grandson, and not be too hot and definitely not be too cold, because this is a air-conditioned home, so yeah, it tends to get cold sometimes, and I'm very sensitive to the cold because of the fact that I spend most of my time in the tropics, in the Caribbean, on the island of Puerto Rico, where I live with my husband. So this is not common for me. I mean, it's been the usual for the past couple of years, but it's not my, let's say, normal lifestyle. So anyway, I was looking for some dresses. I've always liked to use dresses, and I've always felt that I don't use them enough as I would want to. So I took advantage of the idea that Amazon was having its sale, and it's not always easy for me to go out. The larger stores, chain stores, are not really close by. You need to go or call a Uber or a Lyft or taxi or whatever, or drive there. And so with all of the daily chaos of raising a 2-year-old toddler, there's not always time, and people don't always feel like going out shopping after a day of work and taking care of a toddler. So if I can buy on Amazon and receive it in a couple of days, I am more than happy to do it if the price is right. So the price was right for a couple of dresses. One of them is the one that I am wearing, which is a long maxi tier dress, and I like the fact that it has sleeves, because most of the dresses that I saw for the summer didn't have sleeves. I like the fact that it's nice and loose, and I also like the fact that I had been working on a pair of earrings with the thread that was left over from my Summer of Romance project that I shared with you during the last episode, and I wanted to use it to make a new pair of earrings. So as I was looking through Pinterest, I saw these earrings that I had seen before by Amber of Divine Debris, which is the handle by which I know her on Instagram. She does a lot of wall art designs and garments and earrings. But this one, for example, is from 2020, and it's called the Courtney earrings. And I'll try and get a view on my computer that I can share with you. So those are the Courtney earrings. There are a couple of styles here. That's Amber with her earrings, and a couple of the styles she's made. There's a two-colored one, and these are actually one color but with beads at the end. And so I didn't have my beads here, so I didn't choose to do them with beads, although yeah, I would have. But another thing was that after I made the earrings, following the instructions that she was given, I found that for me, they were still too small. So what I did was, these earrings are a free pattern on her blog. You can also purchase a written pattern from her Ravelry store if you would like, for a small price. But I just went with the free pattern on her blog. And so you can see, let's see. Hopefully you can see her earrings in the background. And then what I did was I did another round, let's say, another round at the end where I went totally around the edging that she had, the last row that she has. This is a 3-row earring, and I went all the way around it using half double crochets and picot stitches and half double crochets. And so in all of her loops, I think they had 6 chains. I did, at the end, at the top, I did 6 half double crochets in those 6 loop chains. And then in the middle, I reduced the 5 to those loops that were going to stand in the middle of mine, because I was holding it kind of like sideways to the way she was holding it. And then at the very bottom, one of the loops has 7 half double crochets, and at the very top, one has 7 half double crochets. That kind of like made it like this diamond shape instead of the square that she has. And so it's as big as I like them, and I like the shape that it got from changing that last row. And so they are her Courtney earrings, but with a slight modification just to make them slightly bigger for me. And I had to make them slightly bigger because she was using, I believe, a 2.25 millimeter hook with Aunt Lydia's number 10. But with Aunt Lydia's number 10, I like to use a 1.25 or even a 1 millimeter hook if, sometimes depending on the amount of light I have available. I like to work with small hooks and thin yarns. And because my crochet is like very wiry and very tight, and I just like the way it looks. So for this one, I used a 1.25 millimeter hook, Aunt Lydia's number 10 in that, no, it wasn't Aunt Lydia's, it was, I think, Omega's number 10, which is the light blue that I was using for my Summer of Romance project. So they just turned out. I made these first, and then a couple of days later was Amazon Prime's Day, and I ordered the blue dress. And then when I got them, actually, I thought that, oh, this is just too much blue for me, because I'm not really a light blue kind of person. Not that powdery light blue, but I did like this blue, which I find that it's not as baby blue. And my daughter-in-law liked very much the blue on blue, but I had made a different pair of earrings that I'll show you in a moment. So continuing on the theme of the galaxy for the Summer of Romance, Cal, I have continued reading my books, and I wanted to make something to reflect the romance that occurs in the later series of the saga. And so I was using my leftover yarn from the project, from the wall art project, and I worked this one up. Now this is also a pattern by, I know that it's called the Red Galaxy earrings because the maker makes them in red, but I don't remember the name of the designer. I will put the link to the YouTube channel where she doesn't speak at all, but she only shows you the stitches that she uses. And if you put it on slow enough and just watch it, it's only, again, 3 rows. She makes it in one solid color. I was trying to use up all my colors, so I made it in 3 rounds of 3 different colors that were in my Galaxy wall art. I still have yet to hide this thread and to stiffen it with some glue. And yeah, I think this one would have been nice also. It wouldn't have been as blue on blue. And so I think the pattern is really nice. I think it does reflect the galaxy. The very simple use of double crochets, double crochet clusters, and picots also. Quick to work up, not difficult. And so, yeah, you could make them in any color. I was just trying to continue with the theme of the galaxy. So, yeah, it's always easier for me in this type of situation to work up something small than, you know, earrings are always useful. You can never have too many earrings, maybe, right? So that's my walking the talk. Yes, I have already strolled outside with my dress and my earrings, and I really do like them very much. So the next on my list is to share with you, give you some updates on the 2 blouses that I was sharing with you the last time. So it doesn't really matter in what order, but the first one that I have here closest to me is the Secret Garden top. The Secret Garden top, which has a lot of alterations included in the pattern. It's a pattern by Nomad Stitches. It is a purchased pattern, and she just had a recent sale because of her birthday. So yeah, you can always wait it out and wait until she puts up a sale and get them a little bit less expensive, but they're not really expensive, and they are really good patterns. They're written up very concisely. Well, not so much concise, maybe isn't the word I'm looking for. They have enough details for you to not get lost. And I say that with caution because I can get lost on any pattern, but that's just me and my personal self. And so this pattern I was working up. Oh, I can show it to you because I have it here open already. We'll go this way. So it's the Secret Garden top. And this one is a maybe 3/4 length. It's goes a little bit past the hips maybe. It's a possibility. And then this is the top part of the dress, but I'm pretty sure that there are other versions. the top can have, or the dress for that matter, can have a low back or it can have a higher back. I went with the higher back. I'm not sure this is the higher back. And so yeah, this is the cropped. You buy one pattern and you get the possibility and instructions to help you make the blouse in different styles, I guess. So I began the Secret Garden top with the idea of doing the high back, and I wanted to use up all of the thread that was in my skein. And I don't know if you remember, but it started out like in a yellow, moved on to a gold, and then it began some of the gold with green. And finally, well, this is where I'm at. So this is what I have up to now. And that's the front. And this is the back. And I am just going to try and continue until I use up all of this yarn. So if that's going to get me, I don't know, if it's going to get me a top. Definitely I'm past the stage of crop top. If I had wanted to keep it a crop top, I could have already stopped. I could have stopped right about here, which is where she stops for her crop top. If you complete the whole, I think 1.5 times the chart for the lace, then you'll get that like hip length top that out of the versions that I was sharing with you. And I'm just going to keep going. I don't know if I will get only a tunic length or if I will be able to get a long enough dress, something that I could use either over an underdress or that I could use on top of a bathing suit if I was going to the beach. I'm just going to wait it out and see. It's going to be slow because I realize that I am slow with the lace, because if you're doing the crop version, she has included the chart has been translated to words. But if you want to do anything longer than the crop, you have to read the chart. And I'm slow reading charts. Usually what I'll do is I'll take a row and I'll write it out onto paper, and then I'll just work it up by on paper. Now, if it has a short repeat, so it's just repeating that stitch pattern maybe 6 or 7 times to go around, so it's easy to learn. Once you do it once or twice, it's easy to learn without having to read it, either from the chart or from the pattern itself. But yeah, translating from diagram to the words is a bit slow for me. And then even after I do that, sometimes I still mess up. I did definitely mess up, I have to say, and I didn't, when I realized it, I didn't want to rip back, so I just left it like that. And the thing is that this has like several, it's all double crochet, and every once in a while you'll have this stitch here, this different stitch, which is just a V-stitch, but you have to have it several times around. And I don't know how, I thought I was following the instructions so carefully, but when I finished that section and was going to start the lace, I realized that my lace did not have its points exactly at the bottom part of each of those columns of stitches, of decorative stitches. So I'll show you what I mean. You see here I have a column of decorative stitches. And this point is supposed to be over here to the left, as is this one. It's supposed to be, well, yeah, it's to my left anyway, to my left. And I don't have a column of stitches here or here, which I should have. If I look at her design, no, that's not true. These are okay. These don't need to have don't have to meet with any column of stitches, but these should have met. And at one point when I had a couple of rows in, I realized it. I said, oh, let me just rip back those couple of rows and move my stitches over. But then I was afraid that there was going to be too much mathematics involved in adjusting every single row after that. This is, I think it's a 16 row repeat to get the complete chart. And I didn't know how much moving it over would affect what's happening. Maybe if I had just started the chart at one of the points and then gone around, that would have been fine, because I did have the number of stitches that I needed. And so, yeah, maybe I could have done that and that wouldn't have been as much of a problem. I'm pretty sure. Now that I see it, I'm thinking that it was as simple as doing that. But anyway, I will leave it like that for now. If I venture into making another one of these, I guess it'll be based on, I could make a crop, or I could just make a blouse, and we'll see how this one comes out. But in terms of the yarn, I am liking it quite a bit. The pattern is simple enough. It's very well explained. Obviously, the faulting for not having the points of my lace where they're supposed to be is not hers. It is mine, because her patterns are tested by 6 or 7 crocheters, and it's tech edited, and so any fault here is definitely mine. But yeah, I guess maybe I would like to do it again to see if my idea of just starting the chart somewhere else worked. Also, since I'm reading from the screen, from either the computer screen or the cell phone screen, it's not comfortable to read the charts. So that's why I also prefer writing them out. But anyway, I think this is going to look nice, even with my mistake. Because unless you've seen the pattern before, you might not actually notice it. So I'm here going through this green. The way this works is that this yarn is made up of 3 strands of thread, very, very thin thread. And so let's say at the beginning, it might have 3 strands the same color, and then one of the yellow strands will change, and then later on, a second yellow strand will change, and you'll be getting the like gold colors until you finally have 3 gold threads. And then you'll have two gold threads and 1 green, and then later on 2 light greens and 1 gold, and then you'll have 3 light greens, and then you'll probably have 2 light greens and 1 darker green until you have all 3 darker greens. No, you never get all 3 darker greens. You're always going to have 2 dark greens and 1 light green. I thought that if I didn't have enough yarn to finish the dress, I could try and find this is a cotton acrylic blend, so I could try and find a maybe fingering weight or light fingering weight, heavy lace weight that sort of like matched this last color here, which was sort of like a bluish green. Looks darker on the screen than what it is, but if I needed to add length, I thought I could do that. But we'll see. There's a lot of yarn, of thread, still left here. So I think at least I think I can get the double of what I have right now. I mean, I can have this length again. And so we'll see. As I said, it's going to be slow. I really did think that I would have it finished by now, but that didn't happen. So let's see. Maybe the next time that we meet up, I'll have something finished to share with you, which is going to be really, really beautiful. Now I am going to share with you the Cal in which I have been participating during, or will be participating during the month of July. Slightly crinkling, but I have been using this yarn, which Elizabeth brought me back as a gift from Japan. I also think it's 50% cotton and 50% acrylic or polyester or something, but I don't know because I can't read the Japanese that's on it. So I'm going to go with that because it says 50-50, so I'm going to go with that. It's been very nice to work with. No, it kind of feels to me like a Dishy, but the Dishy cotton from Knit Picks is worsted Aran, and this is fingering weight. So maybe a comfy, what's it called? The Knit Picks fingering weight cotton that they have. I'm not sure if this would be actually somewhat thinner, but it in comparison to the yarn that was being used for the samples, this was a good substitution. It was very close, not in blend, because their blend has is a lot drapier, but in terms of the yardage, the amount of yarn that you are given. In each one of these is 25 grams, and I had 300 grams. So I was supposed to have enough to make my next make, which is the Vesuvias top, also by Nomad Stitches. And if you weren't here the last time, I'll try and get up a view. Okay, so the cowl that I've been participating in is called the Vesuvias Top Cowl, which is a pattern also by Nomad Stitches. The cowl is running through July, through the month of July. You can get the pattern free on her blog until August 31st. Well, you can't get it, you can't download it, but you can read it. Or you can purchase it if you register in the cowl. You can, I don't know if you can still purchase it, but there was a discount for the pattern if you signed up for the cowl. The schedule is running this way, so this week we are now into July the 10th through the 16th. We should have the top, be working on the top of the front and start the body. Okay, so this is the Vesuvias. You'll notice that it has the shoulder worked in a different fashion. It is basically an oversized tee and has rounded maybe short and long hem on the front and back. And once again, you can make it cropped. Sandra from Nomad Stitches is not too tall. She's rather short, so she prefers her tops cropped because she has a short torso. But obviously you could make them as long as you wanted, depending on the amount of yarn that you have available. And so once again, I'll share with you what I'm working on. This is, you already saw the yarn. This is where I am working on up to now. And again, it is not complete. I thought it could have been, but it's at a point now where it's got 100-something stitches. And so, you know, front and back, and so going around and around and around in the same stitch pattern can get monotonous. And so I'm working on both of these at once, and so I just alternate, not in the same day. I take one day to work with one day to work with another. But I am down to maybe 125, not 100. I am down to 75 grams of yarn left. And so I wasn't sure how long I was going to be able to make it. So I decided to complete the I-cord, the faux I-cord edging for the neck, which is actually quite simple, but I had never worked on it before. And she uses the same edging for the sleeves. So I went from starting the body to finishing up the edgings all around. That way I can just go around and around and around until my yarn runs out, and I won't have to worry about, well, not until my yarn runs out, because I do have to stop at some point if I want to make my rounded edges and the hem, the rounded hem, and make my back maybe a little bit longer than the front, the way she has it in her original design. I will have to stop because that uses up a certain amount of yarn also. So I'm going to go for maybe another 40 yards. I'm going to like finish up the ball that I have and this one, and then I'll have to decide that's the length that I can have for my body, and then move on to the hems, which do take up some, maybe 7 or 8 rows. So yeah, it's pretty wide on me. I don't know if you can see that well. Maybe a bit more oversized than I would like, but the thing is that I didn't have the 3mm hook that was required, that she recommends. I was using a 3.25, which is what I had here. And I didn't probably say before, but also for the Secret Garden, I am using a 3.25mm hook. I was. Because then once you get past the waistline, she suggests that if you're going to try and make this longer, not a crop top, that you, every time you complete one of the lace repeats, that you go up another hook size, either half a millimeter or a whole size. I didn't have here the hooks that I needed to do that either, so I went from a 3.25 to a 4mm hook, and I guess I'm going to stay with 4 all the way to the end. But obviously that kind of thing is going to use up more yarn because you have a larger hook, which is what I think happened here. In both of these, I am making the smallest size. And so this one is the smallest size, and even that, I find it'll be very loose. It's supposed to have, I think, 4 inches of positive ease if you desire that. But if I had used the 3mm hook, it would have been less wide, and I would have used up less yarn. And so, but you know, I'm not going back now because I'm pretty advanced, and if I would work on this all day for a couple of days, I could probably finish it up and get it done. And so that's what I've been working on essentially. I think I am a little bit ahead of the Cal, and for most likely I will get this done before the end of July, and maybe be able to wear it for what's actually my summer. Probably not here because I don't think I'll get it done before next week. And next week is my last week here in Alabama. If I didn't mention if anybody's new and hasn't been around for a while and wants to know where I am. And then I'll be going back to Florida for a couple of days and finally traveling back home. So somewhere along the line, I will finish it and block it out, either wet block it or just steam block it, and then see how it finally looks. Now this, I thought that this yarn was self-striping when Clarissa gave it to me, but it's actually variegated. And it's variegated, and I'm not too sure on whether I, like the kind of like blotches that are formed by the variegation, but I don't know. It's only a T. I guess it'll be okay for only a T. So if I get it done before I'm ready to leave here, maybe I'll just, put up a little video and onto Instagram and share it with you. So that's what I've been working on. As I said, I have been here in Alabama since the end of June, and I'm getting ready to go back to my home. And this is the crochet that I will be taking back with me. Most definitely the Secret Garden dress, I'll be taking it back because the lace, as I said, will take a while to work up. And I'll be able to share with you, I'll be able to share them with you as finished objects in a future video. So I want to thank you once again for being here with me. And my grandson is doing well, and he's finally beginning sort of like to gain weight on a higher, would that be a less steeper curve? So I guess if the curve was really steep, that means it's taken him a long time to gain weight. So the curve is less steep now, and so he's gaining more weight, which is a good thing, because if he wasn't gaining weight at the correct pace, and there might have been other interventions that the doctors would have suggested. But he's going to be 2 years old in August, and they're going to celebrate his second birthday also down in Puerto Rico, so that most of the family can see him after he turns 2. Well, you have to kind of start paying the tickets, the airfare, so yeah, he might not be flying to Puerto Rico for a while, that's all I'm saying. But then he's going to be 2 years old, and he's weighing 17 pounds. And I mean, he weighed 1 pound when he was born, 17 pounds now. I mean, it's been a long journey to get him to those 17 pounds. But he looks amazing. He's running around crazy. He's very playful and has his preferences with what types of games he prefers. He is just starting to maybe repeat some of the words that we spit at him 24 hours a day. Well, 14 hours a day, whatever amount of hours he's awake. And so we're all happy with him. And I'm sure that those of you that have been here with me since the beginning of his birth and all that know how happy I am to be at this state where I can say that I think he's on his way to a continuum progress, and maybe my help here won't be needed as much in the months to come. So thank you all for tuning in. I do hope you had a good 4th of July if you celebrate that. And I had my birthday after that, so we kind of had a celebration here. And it's been all really great. The summer has been mild. It hasn't been as hot as it was last year. And so it's been a nice vacation. So until we meet again, I'll catch up with you soon. But until then, keep yourself safe, keep yourself happy, and of course, keep crafting.